Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final video of the year. My name's Plus, and let's just dig into it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, overall, I'd say we had a pretty good year over here on Wrestle Plus. We definitely, changed the game when it came down to universe mode, to say the least. Not to be cocky or anything. Like, I'm not saying, I feel like there's been a ton of creators this year that have really broke the barriers, that have done their thing, but when it comes to universe mode content this year and just what I envisioned overall, this is exactly the start that I could have imagined, that a lot of YouTubers could have imagined, and luckily enough in my case I was able to get there in such a short amount of time. And trust me, there is still so much more to do. Like, don't think that this is like my ceiling and I'm comfortable. Like, this is just one out of like a 10-step plan that I have. I just wasn't expecting part 1 to be done in a year. Is it ideal? Of course, hands down, but wasn't expecting it at all. So it definitely is a feel-good moment to look back over the year, look at the fact that we have over 2,000 subscribers, especially when we started this channel around this time last year, or more of December, early December. Like, we had the anniversary show for you guys who know when the shows first started. But this month last year was when everything kind of came down to it, and I wasn't doing weekly content until I'd say after WrestleMania, I'd want to say, or leading into WrestleMania season 1. I wasn't doing weekly content for a while, just because, like, in my mind, like, if you don't have more than like 100 subs and you're only getting 2 or 3 views per video, like, just upload and take your time, so that way you can get each episode out perfect. There's no demand, and around that time it's kind of perfect, because you can get, again, everything out and not have to worry about demand. Now you can get everything out and not have to worry about demand, but in my case, I'm a big person on dates. I know a lot of YouTubers have recently just started to get into this, and I'm very happy at that, because I feel like when you set a date, it brings the excitement a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And the point for this universe mode is to bring the game to life, to do something that they're doing in real life and put your own spin on it, or to just have something completely custom. I mean, however your view is, but my view is to take something real life and customize it and make it just completely different. It's a universe. It's a completely different universe. If you look in my universe, it's definitely different than real life WWE. Definitely different than a lot of universe modes, I'd say. This year I definitely focused on the wrestling aspect of everything, the storytelling aspect of everything. That was my big thing this year. I wanted to make sure that stories made sense, things got picked up. I know right now we're going through a little bit of a bloodline issue, but I know I've seen some people on the channel mention it, thinking it's been forgotten. Trust me, it hasn't. These absences that we don't talk about it will be talked about. It's happening for a reason. I don't like that it has to happen this way, but in order for things to move into WrestleMania the way I'm hoping that it has to, this little stretch of a break is what we need. So, and it's okay, we got a lot of other stuff cooking up. We got Balor doing his thing for the world title with Drew McIntyre coming up this Sunday. We got the Shield. They've been doing crazy things. Now the Shield I actually want to talk about a bit in this video. I'd say those are like the overall superstars of the year. Superstar of the year, it's a tie between like Moxley and Balor, because I feel like the first 6 months of the year, Balor's whole mission statement to becoming world champion was like real big. And don't get me wrong, he's been doing great work as world champion. But it's kind of easier to see, it's easier to get behind somebody when they're trying to reach a goal versus somebody who's already reached that goal and is already at that mountaintop. And right now Moxley is like teetering on that mountaintop, and it's kind of cool seeing it, because it's like you've seen the story with Balor, now you're seeing the story with Moxley, and it's like they're two different stories but same goals, and it's just very interesting to see overall. I feel like you guys are really gonna like the way Moxley's story pans out. I'm not sitting here saying that they're gonna win the tag titles this Sunday and then Moxley's gonna cash in and win the world title. Like, I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying that Moxley being Money in the Bank was definitely the right move for universe mode. I know we had that whole Bronson Reed mix up, but now that we are done and over with that, Moxley being Money in the Bank is definitely the right move, I would say. There's a overall, this year there was a lot done, a lot of steps that I took when it came down to just trying to make sure that this channel was in a decent spot, because season 2 was good. Season 2 was going to be looked at as one of my most creatively, I don't know how to explain. I would say, like, creatively, this will probably be the hardest season I had to make. But next year will be a lot easier. And the reason why I say that is because I had a season 1, but season 1 consisted of 14 episodes, and that was just laying the landscape on who Finn Balor, like Finn Balor was the main character of that universe mode. John Cena did his thing towards the end. That universe mode was just telling you who names are, giving you a background on who each wrestler is, so that way going into season 2 I don't have to sit here and like have an R-Truth come on Raw and it's like, oh man, he's making his debut, when in actuality dude's been with the company for like 20 years. Like, I made little appearances happen, random appearances, just so we can get their names out there. So that made season 2, you know, just commentating wise a little bit easier. But there's history. I would say season 2 was the foundation season for this channel, if anybody wants to look at it in that light. I'd say that this was a foundation year for the channel, and next year I don't even know what I'd be able to call it yet, but I'm definitely gonna already call my shot saying that season 3 is gonna top season 2. I already have the stories that I want to work on going into season 3, and the reason why I can work on these stories going into season 3 a lot better than I could pull the trigger with in season 2 is because we need the build. We need Balor being champion for a while and him getting those wins under his belt. You know, we needed to see the Samoa Joe come into universe mode and actually, absolutely dominate Mayhem and have that, a bit of that stop at the Starrcade and his momentum being a little, stopped, and now he's in, the Elimination Chamber. And I feel like Punk's introduction was very good too. Punk getting introduced going after Cody, and Cody saying, listen, like, I'll go after Punk, but we're on a fast track to Mania. I want to go after the world title that I lost at SummerSlam. There's history to build off of now. Each and every single person inside this Elimination Chamber, there's something to build off of before the chamber going into WrestleMania. There's some type of planted history going into Mania that would make sense for everybody. Samoa Joe and Finn Balor would make sense. CM Punk and Finn Balor would make sense. Cody versus Balor would make sense. Roman versus Balor, I feel like Roman versus Balor would make the most sense, because Roman's entire goal in season 2 has been finding that identity as the tribal chief and trying to get his house in order, so that way he can go after that world title. And so many times we've seen so many like obstacles come in Roman's way. Like, I gotta say, like, when it comes down to like somebody who should be there but just isn't for some reason, is Roman Reigns. Like, he's that guy who should be at the top of the card. Judgment Day and Bloodline should be having a crazy feud right now, but just something always happens. And that right there isn't just me trying to stretch out the reign of Finn Balor or get another champion under the belt. That's going to make sense for Roman's story, whether he becomes champion or not. Every failure, every win that he has had so far is going to make sense, and I like that we were able to kind of double back on that during this whole Elimination Chamber build up, with Roman getting those wins back on Strowman, getting those wins back on Nakamura that he lost back in April when he was just the muscle of the Shield. He wasn't the tribal chief. This character development is really showing you a different side of Roman that I feel like a lot of people were expecting off the rip, because in real life, we were already 2-3 years into the tribal chief Roman. So for a lot of people, when Roman comes in and steps up, Roman's that top guy. Roman, I want to make sure when Roman's ready to be that top guy, it makes sense. I'm not gonna just force him down everybody's throat, because as we all know, we remember the not so great feeling of that happening, previously in real life wrestling. I've been trying to make sure that everybody gets their build. Season 3 is also going to be a very women's infested season. I want that to be known as well. The women this year, if you want to call what I've been doing with the men foundation, then I guess the women have just been the seeds being planted, because I dropped the ball on the women this year. I will completely own up to that. Like, I will be honest, like, there were some storylines, and this year all I did was just make Rhea a dominant champion, put Damage Control semi on the map, and now I'm getting Asuka's name a little back out there. But season 2 did nothing for the women, and that's something that I gotta work on in season 3. It was just, it's very hard for me to focus on 2 different things at once. And once we go into season 3 with the fallout of WrestleMania, and every story is going to be put together, or you're going to have an idea on a story. If you don't have an idea on the story going into Mania, the night after Mania, that Raw, you're going to have an idea on all the stories going into just like the next couple of months and the next couple of weeks, and just overall what makes sense, because after Mania is King in the Ring again. So it's gonna be easier, because King in the Ring, I'll just have to focus on that, like, you know, those stories in that tournament and stuff. But it'll be easier because they'll have that history. Punk and Joe and all these guys will have that history, you know, the Owens and all these guys. But the women don't have that right now. There's only a handful of matches I can really, you know, call out for Bianca Belair or Io Sky or Asuka. You know, they have some from No Mercy and stuff, but not many that I would personally like. When you look at a guy like Samoa Joe, Mayhem's his show. Like whether you want to say it or not, like the bro came in under the Mayhem umbrella. He's making his Raw debut tomorrow night, and that's going to be the first time he ever even touched Raw since Mayhem became a thing 6 months ago. Like, that's a big deal. Like, Joe came in with the idea that he was working Friday nights, and it was going to be Friday Night Joe. Like, that was what we were doing, and it's what we've been doing. I'm going to be completely honest, but something that we've also been doing, is we kind of slowed that down a little bit. I want going into season 3 for the women to have that identity. I don't want Rhea Ripley to be looked at as the end-all be-all for the women's division. I want there to be depth in the women's division, and trust me, there will be. There's going to be depth, debuts, a whole lot of stuff coming up for the women. So I don't want you guys to think that, like, you know, it's getting put on the back burner. This year, I focused on making sure the championships in Universe Mode are as prestigious as I can, and that tag team wrestling was good. That was my main 2 focuses for season 2. The championship prestiges in tag team wrestling. Those 2 things are good now. Though after the Starrcade tag team tournament, I feel like everybody's got their fill on multiple tag matches in one night. But overall, I got all those 16 teams in. I made sure at least 12 to 13 of those teams were teams that are around on a consistent basis. So, you know, now you go into Universe Mode, you know who FTR, the Shield, the Legado, even though they have a lot more downs than up, you know who they are. Like, you know who everybody is. The Creed brothers did their thing at Starrcade, and recently they just did their thing against the Shield. I'm trying to get their name more back out there since they're more around in real life now, just so we can try to stay somewhat consistent and have some, you know, similar faces and whatnot. Yeah, everybody's kind of done their thing, so it's kind of fire, you know. Like it's nice to look back at this season and say, and actually like say like, wow, like it got done. I didn't think that I was gonna be able to get it done. I'll be honest. Like I thought either the ball was gonna get dropped or a lot of stuff was gonna get pushed back, or some people just weren't gonna share the same vision. Like I'm very surprised that a lot of people are into the Universe Mode stuff the way it is. Like even as I was talking about it for the last 10 minutes, like this last 10 minutes was just my mindset of the Universe Mode. I feel like when you create Universe Mode stuff, you got to be into it yourself in order to get somebody else into it. You can't try to sell a product that you won't watch yourself. All this is just my own fan perspective of myself, you know. Like, so the fact that like there's actually people that support this, that fuck with this, that go so hard for the Universe Mode stuff, and who do want more, and I can upload an hour late and it gets noticed by people. Like people are like, yo wait, where's the Universe Mode stuff? Like I'm like, yo, this is like, you know, like should have got it out, but it's kind of cool like that people are actually looking forward to it. Like it's a good feeling, you know. Like I've gotten so many comments with people saying that, you know, they're looking forward to No Way Out and just everything behind it, and it's gonna be good, you know, like because we're going back to the whole, you know, every 2 months per show thing. So, you know, since we're doing that, since the shows are every 2 months now, I want to make sure the events are premium, you know, and that's not just some rip off the whole premium live event. Like I want to make sure the pay-per-views feel like pay-per-views. The 2 hours and some change you're gonna take out of your day to watch this isn't just a wrestling simulation with me just recording my gameplay. It's going to be magic, storytelling, something to pull you in and keep you watching. I've had Universe Mode channels that I've absolutely fell in love with, and I've had Universe Mode channels in the past, you know, when I was younger, where I've watched and I'm like, I like this guy, but this is kind of hard to get through, you know. Like there's, and it sucks, but it's the truth, you know. Some videos are better than others, some things are better than it, but I try to make sure that each video that gets put out is better than the last video, if that makes any sense. So here's to that. Here's to the last video of 2023 and just everything that we have accomplished so far in this year, and on to the next. This year, I didn't even do a video last year, like so yeah, last year I didn't even talk about like none of the goals for this year. But if I can look back, just seeing the content that I was making, my mindset for last year, I didn't have any goals for the channel last year, and that was because, like, you know, last year I was still doing my other channel, my Call of Duty channel, and that channel had like has 7K subs, and I was doing my thing over there for the last couple of years. This channel was just a side channel. But over this last year, my love for professional wrestling has definitely increased a lot more than I felt in the last couple of years. That drive for it has come back, and you know, the goal has definitely not changed. So I know a lot of people who are gonna watch this video are very new to me and don't know me from my previous channel. But I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I love the art of content creation. I love the art of taking your time into a video, and the fact that it'll get so appreciated. I love that feeling, you know, and if I could just make one person's day happy and just take them away from whatever they're going through in life, like wrestling did for me, like Brendan Plays did for me, like Dankops did for me, like Pulse did for me, Tony the Pizza Guy, like if I can do that for somebody like those guys did for me, then this right here is where I want to be. And if I can make this into a career, then so be it. But right now I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I hope you guys are happy with what we're doing and how the content's going. And I know there's a lot of stuff that could be changed and tweaked, and you know, like next year, something I really want to work on is the dates. I was very big on the dates this year, and you know, towards the end of the year started to slip a little bit when it came down to like just the dates overall of the content. So stuff like that'll get worked on. That'll be better coming after the pay-per-view coming up next Sunday, or this coming Sunday. So it's gonna be very interesting, guys. I love you guys so much, and here's to another great year of content creation. Peace.